Hello, everybody. My name is Brad McClure, and I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about financial independence, financial freedom, and some smart career choices. So let's get started. Financial independence. What is financial independence? I usually ask people this, what financial independence is, and they usually give me answers like it's not living with mom and dad, it's living on your own, paying for your own stuff, working for a living, being able to buy the things you want, the things you need. Well, that's true. Financial independence is buying the things you need. It's not living with mom and dad. It's being able to pay for your housing, your food, transportation, basic needs. That's what financial independence is. Okay. Well, we get that through money. If we have enough money, we can pay for the things we need, pay for the food, pay for the shelter, pay for the clothes. But what happens if we have enough money? Enough money something called financial freedom. Financial freedom is different than financial independence. Financial freedom lets us choose some things that are a little bit better than just meeting our needs. Meeting our needs is one thing. We need to have shelter, we need to have clothes, we need to have food, we need to have medical. But there are some things that we want that's called freedom. Being able to buy a bigger house, buy a nicer car. Those are the things that everybody seems to be after today is financial freedom. I know I'm after financial freedom. I don't want to just meet my needs. I want to be able to go do some stuff. I want to be able to have some fun. I want to be able to buy some things that I want, do some things that I want. Not having enough money equals what? Not having enough money equals harsh rules and discipline. Everybody's heard them. Everybody's lived in a house. You might even have said them yourself if you're an adult. If you live in my house, you're going to live by my rules. Don't you be going out and staying out past curfew. You're going to be grounded. How come you left that light on? Don't you know electricity costs money? Shut that door. The air conditioner's on. What do you think? Money grows on a tree? Don't you talk back to me. You better eat everything. Don't you be wasteful. Don't be bringing your friends into my house. Why are you doing? You bringing them in here and eating all my food? Don't. Who do you think works for this around here? As long as you live under my roof, you're going to live by my rules. That's the kind of rules that you have if you don't have financial independence. Well, we get enough through jobs. We get enough money through jobs. Most people don't. They're not the Steve Jobs or the Jeff Bezos or the Mark Zuckerbergs or the Bill Gates. They don't create something that's going to make them millions of dollars and it employs millions of people. But most people get money through jobs. That's how we get our financial freedom is through jobs in America. Now, we can get a job, but this right here is a bad job. Don't be telling me this ain't no bad job. This job does not pay enough. I'm telling you, it is not worth me sticking my hand in that gator's mouth. You know what he's thinking right there, right? He used to have a left arm yesterday, and he's just glad he's got his right arm. But he's thinking, you flinch, and I'm out of here. And you know what the gator's thinking? All he's thinking is, this is lunch. I guarantee you, this job does not pay enough. Well, we can go get simple jobs, but simple jobs are usually hard jobs. Anybody ever dug a ditch? Digging a ditch is tough. How about digging a ditch for 8 to 10 hours a day? I've dug ditches. I didn't like digging ditches. I did not like it one bit. I guarantee you, it didn't pay. You think they're paying him very much? They're not paying him very much. He's about an 8-year-old, 10-year-old boy, weighs about 60, 70, 80 pounds. He don't even have boots doing this job. You think they're going to pay him any more than they're going to pay you? Yeah, they might give you $1 an hour more, but they'd rather take that money and go spend it on a backhoe or something else. They're not. This job does not pay enough. I'm telling you, it does not pay enough. So, what do we do? First off, we got to figure out what we want. What do we want? How do we determine what we want? First, we got to have some choices, right? We got to know what success is before we can have success. Most everybody says they want to be successful, but what is success? People measure success in different ways. So we got to have some sort of an idea. We got to have make a plan. We got to have action. We got to have success. Nobody ever goes straight to success and then decide to have an idea, plan, or take action. Most everybody has to have some sort of an idea of what it is they want, what they want to do. Then they got to come up with a plan, and then they take action and have success. So let's figure out what our ideas are. First off, we got to figure out where we're going to live. Do we want to live in a house like this? This is an adequate house. I guarantee you can live in a house like this. This is about an 800 square foot house, one bedroom, no garage, very small lot. And I used to live in a house like this. There were 6 of us living in this house, me, my wife, and 4 kids. You talk about chaos. It was tough living in this house. 3 kids in one bedroom, me and my wife and a small boy in our room, and we had a living room and one bathroom. And you know what happens when people in the bathroom when there's 6 people living there. Somebody's camping out. Somebody else has got to go. It just doesn't work. It's not desirable, but it's adequate. We had a roof over our head. We had heat. We had cooling. We had food. We had shelter. We were safe. It was adequate. We had independence. We were living there and we were okay. And it wasn't that bad, just to be honest. But it's not exactly what I wanted. What about if you want to live here? Now this is a lot better house. I'm telling you, for 6 people, you can spread out in a house. Like this house is about a 2,300 square foot house. It's got several bedrooms, got a garage, nice big lot, got some room to spread out. This is a nice place. I think I'd like to live in a house like this instead of the one that was on the other page. Well, some people say, well, I can live in an apartment. So let's talk about the apartments here. This is the West Side Parkways apartment in Atoka, Oklahoma. Had a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, was renting, and when I looked this up a couple years ago, $475 a month. A 2 bedroom, 1 bath is $500 a month. That is actually uh, not too bad to live in, but get 6 people in a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom, still got 1 bathroom, and you're living in an apartment. You're 4 inches away from people you don't know. You got people in there with different cultures. They got different music. They got different food. Then you got the problems with people bringing in rodents and bugs, and your apartment's always open to inspection, and you got to take stuff out, and they come in and spray chemicals. Then your parking lot, you're spreading with, you're sharing with people, and crime happens in the parking lots. There's a lot of extra people there. Noises, people are loud, people, things are happening in the apartments. It's just not a great place to live. Now, that's adequate, and it's shelter, and it is a place that you can live. And I don't knock anybody that's living in apartments, but it's just not something that I want to do. And I don't think most people that could do it would choose to live in an apartment over living someplace else. Prices like this are pretty normal. I looked them up in Norman, Oklahoma, which is 27 miles away, and there were very few that was actually in this price range. Most of them was even more. And I actually looked some up in Wayne, Oklahoma. I got a slide here. Yeah, here's Wayne, Oklahoma. It was $650 a month, and this was just the only apartment there was online that day when I looked it up. Only one apartment, $650 a month. So that's your price ranges for apartments. So let's talk about that, and we'll get into it a little bit. Okay, so which one do we want? Now it is more desirable to live in a house. Most people would like to live in a house, put a little bit of space in between them and some other people, have their own parking places and stuff like that. So do you want to live in a house on the left, the 800 square foot house? If you're going to have a family, you're probably going to want to have something more. There's no garage, there's no yard really. I mean, it's a small yard, but there's no place to really pull a vehicle in and do anything if you want to work on a car or something like that. No place to spread out. Now the other house over here's got a garage. It's got several, bedrooms, and it's got a living room, and it's got a place that you can do. You can spread out. You can actually do something in this bigger one. So I take a look at this. The small house on the left is $53,700, and the one on the right is $199,900. So what does that mean to us if we're going to buy something? Most people don't have $54,000 in the bank to go out and buy a house, or $200,000 in the bank. So we usually end up financing them. So if you finance one, that house on the left, $410 a month. Now that's pretty reasonable, cheap, easy price to be able to live in a house. It's actually cheaper than living in those apartments. Now the big house is $1,318 per month, and it's significantly more, but it has got a lot more. So one on the left, independence. One on the right, freedom. Which one do you want? Now let's talk about driving cars. Everybody's going to have a car. If you got an old car right now, you might not need to make this payment. You might be able to save a little bit on your budget, but most people need to be able to buy a car. And if you do have an old car, you're going to have to buy one sooner or later. So you have a good idea of what it's going to cost to take and buy a car. So this car is a 2005 Buick LeSabre custom sedan, and it's got about 104,000 miles on it. This is an adequate car. This is a get around car. It's a family car. You can get to work in it. You can get to the grocery store. You can get to home. You can get to the doctors if you need to go. You can get around. You can go do a few things if you want. This is actually an adequate car. But it costs about $5,000 to buy this car. And if you're going to finance it, it's going to cost you about $224 a month. And you're going to have some insurance on this car. And if you're young and you're a teenager, your insurance is going to be quite a bit higher than this. But we'll talk about the budget in a little bit. So this is a good car. And you may even have a car like this. What about driving a Mustang? I love Mustangs. I've got a 2010 Mustang GT, and I love the way it drives. It's grabber blue. It's got a stripe down the middle, and it looks pretty much like this one behind me. I don't know if you can see it. This is a GT 500 Shelby right there behind me, and it looks pretty much like that body shape. Mine's a 2010, and it just loves to be driven on curves. But if I was going to pick, I'd pick the Mustang. Now let's talk about the Mustang. The Mustang's going to cost you $38,600 and about $600 a month for a payment. $610 is what it says on this sheet. So we got to decide: do we want to drive the Buick LeSabre, or do we want to drive the Mustang? Well, some guys and girls don't drive a car; they want to drive a truck. So let's talk about a truck. Here's a 2002 Dodge Ram 1500. It's 116,000 miles, and it's going to cost you about $6,995 and about $216 a month in payment. It's an adequate vehicle. But remember, when you buy a used vehicle that has 100,000 miles or more on it, it's actually got probably about half of its usable life already used up. And you're going to have some maintenance on it. You're going to be buying possibly some engines and transmissions. You're going to be paying for some wheel bearings and some brakes and some other wear parts like alternators and starters and window motors and stuff like that. But they're adequate cars. But if you're going to have this car and you're going to have that payment, you better be sure to have some money put back for some repairs, because you're going to be doing some repairs on some of these older vehicles. Well, let's talk about a newer truck. I kind of like the Ford Raptor, and I'd like to have a Ford Raptor. It'd be fun to drive. This is a 2017 F-150, and it was brand new when I looked it up. It was $65,460, and the payment on that thing's $1,034 a month. Now, I looked up what the insurance was going to cost on this, and the insurance on this for an 18 to 20-year-old male, graduated out of high school with no wrecks, good driving record, and it was going to be about $390 a month for insurance on this, full coverage. That's per month for this vehicle. So you're looking at almost $1,425 a month to drive this vehicle. Okay, so now that we kind of have some ideas, we can pick what we want. Now you may not pick the big house, and you may not pick the Raptor. You may pick the car, and you may pick a house somewhere's in between the smaller one and the bigger one. But let's figure out. We got to make some sort of plan. Let's figure out what it is that we can do. Okay, so first off on our plan, we got to figure out what our budget is. So most everybody that I talk to in the high school age era, and not too much older than that, that's trying to make a change, they're making around a $10 an hour job. So that $10 an hour job, you get 40 hours per week at it. Hopefully you get 40 hours a week. Most jobs are shutting down that to where you only get about 30 hours a week, but hopefully you can get 40 hours a week at a full-time job. That's $400 per week. That's 4 weeks per month. That's about $1,600 per month at $10 an hour. So let's figure that $1,600 a month. So let's take that and break it down. Our $1,600 a month budget. First off, first thing we pay before we even get our check is $400 of the tax. That tax pays for the police, the fire, the ambulances, our roads, our military. Everybody's going to pay that tax. Everybody needs to pay their share, because we need to have all those systems out there, because it makes our life a lot easier. Can you imagine if we didn't have a military to protect our borders? Can you imagine what it would be like if we didn't have a police to be able to call? Somebody could take our stuff. We couldn't call them and say, hey, somebody took our stuff. Come protect us. We need to have that, so everybody needs to pay that tax. And we're going to pay it one way or the other. You will pay it, your taxes out of your income. So we're going to figure about $200 a month in a car, and we can't even really buy the car that we found online. We're going to have to find something that's a little bit less than that, or we're going to have to put some money down on that car to get the payment down to $200 a month. So we'll figure that $200 a month. And you're going to have to pay insurance on a vehicle, so we're going to say $100 a month in insurance. And most of the teenagers I talk to, that's not even close. They're paying $150 a month, $125 a month on insurance for their cars. Okay, let's talk about housing. Let's take $400 of that $1,600 and let's pay for a house. So right there, even that one house we looked at, we're not quite going to be able to do that. And we can't even rent those apartments that we looked at. We're going to have to really look and try to find us a place to live. Now, I lived in an old junky trailer one time that was, I mean, it was adequate housing, but it was not even half the house of that 800 square foot house we had. And that old trailer house had holes in it, and man, it was bad. rodents and cats would come in from the outside because there was holes in the floor. It was not a fun place to live. It was adequate. It was a roof over our head, but I'm glad we didn't stay in that place very long. I found another one to move into just after a few months, and I was glad to get out of that one there. But $400 a month in housing is what we're going to put on our budget. $200 a month in food. So I usually ask everybody if that's enough money for food, and sometimes say, oh yeah, that's lots of money. Well, let's do some math on that real quick. I usually have the guys that say, well, I can go eat McDonald's and I can eat the dollar menu. And I usually ask them, well, you want to eat a dollar cheeseburger and a dollar French fry and a dollar Coke, right? And he said, yeah. I said, okay, how many times you want to eat a day? And some of them says, well, I want to eat 2 or 3 times a day, at least twice. And some of them say, I want to eat 3 times. And I said, okay, so you're going to eat 1 cheeseburger, 1 French fry, and 1 Coke. And let's call it twice a day. So twice a day you're going to eat that. So now every day of the month you want to eat, or do you want to skip some days? Usually I get an answer, well, I want to eat every day. Don't everybody want to eat every day? I mean, we're hungry every morning when we get up. We want to eat something every day. So I said, okay, so let's do the math. We're going to eat twice a day, $3.30, because we got to pay that 30 cents for sales tax. So it's $3.30 each meal twice a day. That's $6.60. Now you multiply that by 30 days, and you'll get $198 if I do my math right. Is that right? You got $198. So there's your $200 a month budget. That's all you get to eat. You don't get no pizza. You don't get to go eat no shrimp, no steak. You don't have to add no salad. If you're really hungry one day, you don't get to eat 2 burgers unless you do away with the fries or the drink. And then I go, well, I can eat ramen noodles. Yeah, you can eat ramen noodles, and they're cheap, but every meal, can you imagine eating ramen noodles every meal? Now, I mean, I know what some people would do. They'd get through about half the month, and they'd be eating 3 times a day, and they'd realize they didn't have no money, and they'd go buy 2 or 3 boxes of ramen noodles, and that's all they'd have left for the rest of the month. Or they'd go buy a bunch of beans, and I'm telling you, having beans for the rest of the month, your friends ain't really friendly with you after a day or 2 of that, because I guarantee you they're gonna protest a little bit. So. And if you live in a house full of people, can you imagine not being able to go anyplace after eating beans for 2 or 3 days? Now that's painful. That's punishment. So uh, so think about that. $200 a month is all you're going to have to eat on a month. You're going to have to really budget what you do. You're going to have to be making some stuff. You can't be hitting microwave on everything. You're gonna have to be making some stuff. So you're going to have to be buying some raw ingredients and being able to build what you need in your food. So at 200 a month. Okay, $200 a month in utilities, and that's probably pretty accurate. Most people I talk to, with electric and gas and water, and it's about $200 a month will cover just about, an individual or a couple in a small place. $200 a month will probably do that. Let's talk about gasoline. It's $100 a month for gasoline, and that's not much gas. That's not going and driving very much. Now, if you had that truck and you was getting about 12 miles to a gallon, 15 miles per gallon, you're not going to be driving a whole lot. Even right now with the gas at $1.34 a gallon, if you do the math on that, 13 miles to a gallon, most people live, 20, 30, 40 miles away from their job or work or grocery store, and they got to go every day to work, right? I mean, you're going to be driving, so $100 a month of gasoline is not very much. You definitely ain't going to be able to go very far. Now, I had a job that I worked 67 miles one way, and that $100 was more like a week, sometimes a week and half a week for what I was driving, especially when the prices of gas got up there around $3.50 a gallon. That was pretty tough. But that's all we got in our budget though, because that if you look at the total there, that's $1,600 a month. That's what we got to work with. So my question is, what's missing from this budget? Think about that for just a second. What's missing from this budget? Well, one thing, there's no fun in that budget. You ain't got no vacations. You ain't got no time you can go do anything. And there's no clothes in that budget. You can't buy no clothes. Eventually, you're going to have to buy some clothes. And there's no dates in that budget. No music, no movies, no games. There's none of that in that budget. And what about there's no cell phone? And a lot of people get upset because they think cell phone is some sort of constitutional right or something like that. And I'm sorry, the cell phones is a luxury. Cell phone is a part of the freedom thing, not the independence thing. All that stuff that I just listed that's not on that budget, those are all things that we want, not things that we um, you know deserve or get. So we determined that we need more money. I'm telling you, more money is definitely what we need. If we want more than just independence, and we want to have some freedoms, we're definitely going to need some more money. And I'm telling you right now, happiness comes from having more money. You won't hear a lot of people say that, but I'm going to say that, and I can put that to the test. If you got a couple that has a child and they don't have the money to buy the food or the clothes for their child, they're not happy. I'm telling you, they're not happy. They can't provide for their child. If they've got some kind of medical thing that happens and their child needs to go to the doctor and they don't have the money, those people are miserable. I'm telling you, having more money will make you a little bit happier. Being able to have some of those freedoms and meet some of those basic needs, that'll make you happier. So having more does make you happier. People that don't have the money to buy the food they need or the medical attention they need, they're not happy. Trust me, having more will make you happier. Not everybody that has more is happy, but I'm telling you, it'll make the majority of people happier to have more. So let's talk about this. 52 weeks per year, 2 weeks for a vacation. We talked about that fun thing, right? We want to have some fun. So we want about 2 weeks off for vacation. Now, you might not get 2 weeks when you first start a job, but most everybody works at a job for a couple of years or 3 years or something like that. They'll end up with 2 weeks vacation. It's pretty basic out there. So we're going to have 50 weeks per year that we're going to get to work. So let's do some math on that. We have a 5-day work week, 8 hours a day. That's 40 hours per week, right? Right. Yeah. And that's 40 weeks or 50 weeks times 40 hours. So we decided we want to have the 2 weeks vacation. So we got 40 hours times 50 weeks. That's 2,000 hours. That's what we got to sell. We've got 2,000 hours a year to sell to someone for some money to be able to have a paycheck. That's all we've got. It's 2,000 hours a year. We can't count on anything else. Anything else we sell outside of that's just extra. So let's multiply our hourly pay by 2,000 and see what that equals. So $10 an hour times 2,000 equals $20,000 a year. And we've already decided that that's not enough. That may be getting us a little bit of independence, but it's not going to get us the freedom we want. Now, $15 an hour times 2,000 hours, that's $30,000 a year. And we can have a little bit more than just basic independence. But depending on the house and the car and the size of what we've got, $30,000 a year is really not going to get us the kind of freedom that most people are after. $20 an hour times 2,000 hours equals $40,000 a year. Now we're getting up there where we can make some decisions and get some of those freedoms. $30 an hour times 2,000 hours, that's $60,000 a year. Definitely could probably get some of those things that we're wanting in that. So let's do some math on that. Let's take for what we want. Now, I chose the big house and I chose the Ford Raptor because I kind of like those and when we looked at them. So let's take a look at that. So first thing is we're going to pay $1,200 for taxes. If we're going to make more, we're going to pay more. So $1,200 a month per tax. And then the Raptor was $1,034 and the insurance was $390, which is what we talked about, the insurance quote that I got. The house was $1,318 a month. And the food, I wanted to eat a little bit more than McDonald's, and I wanted to have pizza every now and then and some shrimp. So I did $400 a month for food and utilities. It's a bigger house. It's going to take more to heat and cool it and to pay for the things. So $400 a month in utilities. And then I want to be able to drive that truck a little bit and I want to go someplace and do something. So I'm going to do $300 a month in gasoline. So what I need for my budget, the one that I picked for these things that I picked, is $5,042 a month. That's my goal right there. That's my idea of what I want to do. So $5,042 a month. Let's multiply that by 12 months. That equals $60,504 per year. That's my goal. That's my target. That's my idea of what I need to be able to live. So now that I know, I have knowledge, right? Knowledge is power. You've heard that saying, knowledge is power. But I'm telling you, knowledge doesn't do you any good until you do something with it. Knowledge, just because you know how to do something, doesn't get it done. You got to be able to execute. And Tony Robbins says execution is the ultimate power. And Money the Master of the Game, he said that, and it just rung live to me because a lot of people know how to do something. A lot of people are told and showed how to do something, but if they don't do it, and nothing ever gets done. But if you know what you want and you have an idea, you have a plan, and you go do that plan, execution is the ultimate power. Okay, so now we got to take action. Now, there is something about this action plan. You got to figure out what you got to do now. If you like working on cars, if this is your passion, I can help you get to that 60,000 or more. I can get you a lot more than that 60,000 if you're interested. So that's what I'm here today mainly to talk to you about. First off is kind of give you an idea what it's going to cost to live, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit what you're going to get if you become a technician. All right. So there's millions of cars out there. They're making more and more every year. They haven't stopped making them. I guarantee you, they're putting more metal over that curve than you've ever seen in your life. They didn't say, "Oh, we met our quota. There's a million cars out there. We're going to stop making them." Nope, nope. They're still making them. There is not as many cars going into the boneyard as there is being made. There's more cars being made. There's more people. There's more drivers. There's more people getting their driver's license. More people needing to go someplace. More and more cars are coming out there. Now, cars are lasting longer. They're needing to be worked on. They need technicians to work on these cars. The technology is getting better. We need smart people to come into this industry. We need a lot smarter people than we have, in the past work on these because these cars are really smart cars. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. If you was in high school and you got you a job and you decided, hey, I'm making money, I'm not going to finish school, you over your lifetime, if you quit school right then and stayed in the workforce, you would make probably around $25,000 a year average. Now you're not going to make that when you first start. Some do, but most people ain't going to make that when they first start. They're going to be around that $12,000 to $15,000 a year mark, and then later on in life, they might get up to around $40,000 a year. But average over their whole working career ends up being about 25,000. Now this is off the 2014 Bureau of Labor Statistics website, and I haven't looked to see if they've got any new labor statistics up, in the last few years. But this is 2014, so it's probably a little bit higher than it's now. If you became a high school graduate and you worked throughout your whole life and didn't do any specific training and all that, the average you would make is about $34,000 a year. Now, that's over your whole 40-year working career, from about the time you're 18 to 20 years old until about the time you're 60, 65 years old. You're going to average about $34,000 a year. Now, if you go to college and you get an associate's degree, you'll average around 39,500, which is it's a little bit more than that $20,000 that we talked about. But look at that bachelor's degree. You really jump up there when you get that bachelor's degree. It's $57,252. And then if you go ahead and get your master's degree, it jumps up another five to 62,000. And if you want to get an advanced degree like a doctorate, you'd be around that $72,000 range. So we want to take a focus. We want to take this target right here for financial freedom for fun. That's 39,000 up to 62,000. That's what our target is. Now, you can go to college. You can go get you an associate's degree, and that'll take you about 3 years. You can go get you a bachelor's degree, and that'll take you about 4 years. And if you'll get your master's degree, it'll take you about 5 or 6 years. And then to get that advanced doctorate degrees, you're looking at 6, 7, even up to 10 years of getting that advanced degree. Now, most people can't go to school for 10 years straight, to get that degree without incurring a bunch of debt or, having to work and do that. So a lot of them take longer than that time frame to get to that. But what if I could tell you that you could become what's called a senior master Ford technician in as little as 5 years, okay? So what does that mean? A senior master Ford technician, that's between $25 to $50 an hour flat rate. Now, flat rate, a little bit like hourly pay, but not really. It's kind of like a commission job where when you do the work on a vehicle, they pay you what the hours is that you agreed on before you started. So if you do several jobs in a row and you got faster at it, you'd actually make more on the third or fourth time you did it than you did the first or second time you did it. And that's where that flat rate comes in. So $25 to $50 a flat rate hour. And there's a lot of guys that are beating the clock. They're getting really good at their job. They're able to take stuff apart and put back together to diagnose it, and they can actually, average in a 40-hour work week, 45-hour work week. You might be able to flag 50, 55 hours, and that's increasing your hourly pay and your income. Okay. So it takes 5 years, a minimum of 5 years, to become a senior master technician. You get all the training that Ford has, and I can show you some shortcuts on how to get some of that training done a little bit later. But 5 years, and most of the guys that I know are making between $65,000 to $145,000 a year as a senior master technician. And that's significant. That's just here in Oklahoma. That's the ones that I know about, that I've talked to, and I've been privy to what they make. And I've helped train some of these guys that are out there in the industry. I know some of them. I've had some of them in my classroom when I was teaching Ford Asset that are making that $100,000 a year. Definitely several making between that $60,000 and $70,000 a year. and I see that number keep going up. So it's definitely worth there. So you remember that number we saw, that 39 to $65,000 a year, and you'd have to go to school for 5 or 6 years. You don't have to do that as a Ford technician. You can jump in there and you can get paid, and you can do all your training as you're going. Now you can go to some schools, and I'll talk to you about that here shortly. But definitely can get there in 5 years and be making some good. Okay, so all these dots here in Oklahoma, that represents the 63 Ford dealers that are in Oklahoma. And there is a Ford dealership somewhere in Oklahoma that needs technicians. I guarantee you, everybody in this state is preparing for having new technicians come into their shop. They need people to come in. There's going to be more cars built. There's a lot of technicians that's been in the field for a long time that's going to be retiring in the next several years, and they're needing people to be replaced them, and there is needs everywhere. And some of them, there's more needs in some dealerships than others, but every dealership that I know of needs good technicians. There's 3,200 Ford dealerships nationwide. The last I knew, there may be maybe a little bit more, a little bit less than that, but there's around 3,200 nationwide Ford dealers. So you can go to just about any Ford dealership around Oklahoma, and you're probably going to find out real soon that you'd be hired. So most of the dealerships are needing people right now. I have a list of dealerships that I'm working with. They need a lot of lube techs. They need certified techs. They need to get trainees in, and they're ready to hire people. They've got a lot of people that a little bit older are going to be retiring, and they definitely need people to go to work at the Ford dealerships in Oklahoma. So once you go to work at the dealership, how do you get trained? Well, there's 2 or 3 different ways you can get trained. First off, you can go straight to work at the dealership, and they have online self-taught training. We call it e-learnings, and you will be assigned different categories by your dealership, and you can do that at home on your own time. Sometimes if you're at the dealership, they may actually let you have some time to where you can do it at the dealership. And once you get all of the prereqs done for the classroom training, you'll get to go to a classroom training. Now, this type of training takes a long time to do, and it takes a long time. I've known guys that's been working at dealerships for years and years that never made it to the master or senior master level. But what's good about that is it's no cost to you. It's just time invested, and you got to have a laptop and an internet at home, and you got to be able to do the software that Ford writes the curriculum on. And once you get all the prereqs done, then the dealership will send you to the class, and then you would be certified in that particular area. And there's lots of classes to do. But there's also another way is you can go to a college or a career tech, and you can be trained in Ford in the curriculum, and we're going to talk about those next. First, we're going to talk about the ACE program. ACE program is an automotive career exploration program. It's in the high school level career techs and the colleges, and you'll get to do some of your web-based training and online curriculum training through Ford. And then when you go to work at the Ford dealership, it's an accelerated career path to where you can go get your training and your in-person classroom setting with Ford dealerships. And that is a quick way to get started. It's about, I don't know, about half maybe of all of the online web training that you can get. And you do that through high school career techs and some colleges. And that gives you a springboard to get started at the dealership. And you can get in there and start making some good money at the dealership. And this is a partnership between Ford Motor Company, the Ford Lincoln dealerships, secondary schools, and post-secondary schools. And we've got a list of those that we can hook you up with, and you can find out more information. Then we have the Ford FACT program. Now, the Ford FACT program is a classroom program. There's 10 of them in the United States that I've seen on the new Ford Tech website. And the closest one to Oklahoma is in Houston, Texas. Now, this is a program that's done by a college, and they have several months where you're going to college and you take these classes. You do all the online training that Ford has. You do the in-class training, and then you do some work on some vehicles that they have in the classroom. And this program is a really good program. You can get into it, but like I said, the closest one is Houston, and it's kind of an accelerated program so that you can get some of your training and certifications faster. It's a little more in depth than the ACE program, and it covers a little more stuff. You get gasoline engine repair and performance, steering, suspension, electrical systems, and climate control with that particular training. Also, you get brake systems, diesel engine repair and performance, and new model training, quick lane certification. So it covers more than the ACE program, but there's still a few more that you can get after that. You can earn up to 70% of the Ford Service Technician Specialty Training in the FACT program, and during the ACE program, it's about half of the online curriculum, and then you'd have to go to the training. But through the FACT program, you can earn up to about 70% of the Ford Service Technician Training. Then the best one, in my opinion, is the Ford Asset, which is the program that I went through back in 1997. I graduated in 1999. I became a Ford Senior Master Technician really quick after that. And that was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, is to become a Ford Asset graduate and a Ford Senior Master Technician. I worked at several dealerships around Oklahoma in my 20+ year career, and I know a lot of the dealerships and the service managers, and this was the program. This is the elite program of Ford Motor Company and training, and I guarantee you can go through this program and you can become one of the best technicians in the automotive field. Uh, Ford Asset Link is also Ford and Lincoln. It's an automotive student service education training, and they have a program right here in Oklahoma at Okmulgee. Great program, great instructors, great system. It is a great place to go, and it takes 2 years, and you have 3 trimesters a year, and you only have to go to school half the time. The other half of the time, you actually get to go to work at your sponsoring dealership, and they pay you. They pay you while you're working, and it's a way that you could actually go to school, and you could actually pay for the school with the money you make while you're working. You could pay for the school, and you could get out of the school and be totally debt free. That's one of the things that OSUIT, Oklahoma State University Institute of Technology, is proud of, is they are one of the lowest debt to student ratio graduating programs in the state, and it's a technical program. And this program, I'm telling you, it changed my life, and you can definitely become one of the best technicians out there through this program. So what does it take to become a Ford Asset or a Ford technician? It doesn't matter which route you go, you're still going to have this. What is it? First off, you got to be trouble free from the law. Nobody wants to bring somebody on board that's going to cause problems and trouble in their dealership. You got to be trouble free from the law. Next one is you got to have a good driver's license, because you're going to be driving the vehicles. You're going to have to be insured by the dealership's insurance, and you got to have a good license for that. The next thing you got to have is a good driving record. So you got to protect that driving record with everything you got, because I've seen guys lose their driver's license because of problems with their driving record, and they get let go from their job because the insurance couldn't cover them anymore. Speeding tickets or whatever. Yeah, it might be fun to go out and drag race and do that street racing stuff, but if you're going to lose your driver's license, lose your job over it, it's not no fun at that point. And one of the things you got to be able to do if you want to work at one of the better dealerships and make the higher price money is a lot of those dealerships will do drug tests, and you got to be able to pass that drug test. So you got to be drug free. So I can't stress this enough. Too many people go into a dealership and they think they're going to get a job, and they have some problems in their private lives. But the better dealerships that pay better and that you're going to make more money at, they definitely do the drug test. So you need to learn that you need to be drug free. And if you have an idea of what you want, now that we've got an idea of what we want, we can definitely have the better things. We can have the bigger house. We can have the nicer vehicles. If we know what we want, then we can make the plan to get it. If we know what we want and we know make a plan, all we got to do then is to execute and take action. If we execute and take action with the plan that we come up with, then we can't help but become successful. You too can have the success that you want, you can have the freedoms, you can have the things that you want, you can have the bigger house, the nicer car, and maybe you don't want the things that I chose. Maybe you have different things. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to have a boat. Maybe you want to have, jewelry, or maybe you want to have, 15 kids. Whatever it is that you want, if you know what your idea is and you can put a pencil and math to it and you can make a plan and then you can work that plan, you can be successful, and I can help you do that. I want more, but the question is, so the question you got to answer is, what do you want? Do you want a nicer house? Do you want a nicer car? Do you want better job security? Do you want to be able to go to work every day and earn a decent living? Do you want to make enough money to be able to have the things that you can call financial freedom? Well, I can help you do that. I don't regret becoming an automotive technician for a Ford dealership. I made good money as a technician. I guarantee you, it is a great way of life. And there's Ford dealerships out there that need you. And it is an honest living, and you can make good money at it. And I can help you do that. My name's Brad McClure. I work for the Ford dealers of Oklahoma. I'm trying to help them get technicians into their stores to get them trained. Give me a call if you're interested. 918-928-7433, or email me at oklahomaauthoprofessionals@gmail.com. If I don't answer the phone, leave a message. I'll call you back. Send me an email. I'll get in touch with you. Let's figure this out. Let's find a dealership that you can go to work at. Let's figure out how to get you trained to be a Ford Senior Master Technician. Thank you. Have a great day.